When it comes to the subject of death, the teachings of Jesus do not start in the four Gospels. They start in the book of Genesis. In John 1 verse 3, the last of Christ's 12 disciples makes this bold statement. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In other words, Jesus was the Creator God. The Apostle Paul wrote the same message to the believers in Ephesus. Ephesians 3 verse 9 says, God who created all things by Jesus Christ. John plainly stated, the world was made by him. John 1 verse 10. For by him, that is, by Jesus, were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. So, back in the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 17, the Creator God, in love for his new creation, warned our first parents not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. The key word here is die, not live. In this verse, God is either telling the truth or telling a lie. He either means what he says or his words have no meaning at all. In Genesis 3 verse 4, we find a serpent sitting in this very tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This interloper encourages our first mother to eat of the forbidden fruit. She knows she should not eat or even touch it, and she knows the consequence of doing so is death. But the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Creator says you will. Snake says you won't. Today, each of us has a choice. We will either believe what the Creator God says, or we will believe what Satan, that old serpent, the devil, says. From the dawning of time, the source of all love and all truth has offered to us the truth about death. And when Emmanuel, God with us, came to this earth, he reiterated that truth. So, what was Jesus' disruptive doctrine about death?
Well, there's probably no better way to see and understand the teachings of Jesus about death than by examining the story of Lazarus here in Bethany. And we're on our way to his first tomb, and as we're headed there, Andrea, why don't you get us started on the story?
Sure. This story starts in John chapter 11. Now, a certain man was sick, named Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby.
So, what do we know from these first 4 verses?
Well, we know that Lazarus is sick, and his sisters, Mary and Martha, are sufficiently concerned to send a message to Jesus, fully expecting him to come and work his healing powers on their brother.
The followers of Jesus believed that he had the prophetic gift. And so Mary and Martha must have found some courage and hope when Jesus said, This sickness is not unto death. But Jesus delayed his coming.
He did delay his coming, even though he loved Martha, her sister, and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days in the same place where